Nice little setup. I really need.
I don't know how
You have to speak directly to it.
I don't know.
Are we recording already?
Yeah, this
Oh,
is it.
all right. This is it. We're chatting. All right. Cracking open the beer, I guess.
Do you want a napkin? You can just wipe it on the couch.
I'm gonna wipe it on my jeans because I'm gross.
I wipe my snot on the couch.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah, and I sit right there.
That's excellent. Now we've bonded. We've officially bonded.
Yeah. So Travis, thank you for doing my show.
Travis and Julia Bernstein meeting for the first time.
Yeah.
Talking about Taylor Swift. I berated you with my Taylor Swift opinions. Well, Taylor Swift is one of the most popular pop stars known to humankind right now, as far as I understand. Just kidding. Little backstory on Taylor Swift if you aren't caught up to speed. Yeah, exactly. Taylor Swift. What is she? An heiress to the Swift Trucking Company? Who's? I do see that, and of course, it makes me turn on Taylor Swift after I see that.
Hey, that's free advertising for Taylor Swift,
right? That's how she got so big.
Yeah, no one knew who she was until a truck started to.
Truck drives by, and they're just like, I don't know. It's a dumb conspiracy theory. I feel like it. Okay, I haven't actually looked into any of it, but I was on. All right, let's just back up here. So, 2015. Silly. I was standing around in Target selling cell phones, or attempting to sell cell phones, and I knew who Taylor Swift was. And then "Shake It Off" came on in the electronics department, and I was like, "Uh-oh, I think I like this song." I was like, because I listen to metal. I've grown up listening to punk, like playing in punk rock bands and metal bands and all that stuff, and skateboarding and like destroying everything, And so I heard this song. I was like, "Oh crap, this is really good." And then I went and got a haircut, and Blank Space came on, and I had heard it before, and then the radio was just like, "No, Taylor Swift, Blank Space," and I was just like, "Oh, that's Taylor Swift. Dang it, I really like her. She's good."
Wait, who's Blank Space?
Blank Space is another song that was popular.
By Taylor Swift.
Yeah, off the 1989 album.
Okay.
But so fast forward a couple years, I'm now digging Taylor Swift, all that, and Brendan Urie, Panic at the Disco. Panic at the Disco, right? They got popular in the mid 2000s. They do the song. What's the one? What's the really popular one that they did, where it's like, "The bridesmaid is a whore." It's the pop punk. They sound like Fall Out Boy kind of, and they always got conflated with Fall Out Boy. It's funny. I'm a big fan of them, and now I can't even remember any of the lyrics. Because put on the spot. Probably some people who may end up watching this know who Brendan Urie is. He was in a popular band called Panic at the Disco in the mid 2000s. He still exists, but he's the only remaining member in the band. And he did a song with my. He all of a sudden. Well, actually, first he did a song with my favorite metal band, Everytime I Die.
Okay.
And I found out that he's a big Everytime I Die fan. He's got like a tattoo of one of their album covers, and most of his stuff is pop punk. And actually, he has some stuff that sounds like Frank Sinatra. He's like an amazing singer, but he came from pop punk and then kind of became a solo act. And then he did a song on an Everytime I Die album called "It Remembers." If you guys want to check it out, it's on the Low Teens album. Came out in 2016, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." That he's a big fan of Everytime I Die. That's great. Then like a couple years later, he does a song with Taylor Swift, and
the connections.
I was just like, "Oh, interesting." And now I'm like fully into like Taylor Swift stuff, and of course, Everytime I Die is my favorite band. I like Brendan Urie, and I was like, that would be cool if they all got together and collaborated, because Brendan Urie could literally just probably call up Taylor Swift and probably call up Everytime I Die and just be like, wouldn't that be weird if we collaborated? And so I've always like advocated for this stupid idea online on like the metalcore subreddit or whatever.
Oh yeah, you're on Reddit. That's
Oh yes, Reddit. Oh,
yeah, this is where like a lot of the conversation is taking place, is on Reddit.
I am always nervous about telling people about Reddit because it's the only thing I look at on the internet now. Yeah, Reddit and Instagram, and that's it. It's like Instagram for promoting stuff, doing comedy, all that, posting dumb jokes, but Reddit just for information.
Yeah.
I hate websites, and Reddit will, give you links to websites, and no one ever clicks on the article, no one ever clicks on the website. Anyway, Reddit is a big, deep rabbit hole, and it's very dangerous in good ways. It's dangerous in good ways, but it's like I'm literally obsessed with it. And that's like all I read at work all day and on
Oh,
my
cool.
phone because it's just people arguing with each other, and then you get to
Fun.
kind of sit back and just like see them work out the problems, and then be like, all right, well, my position is now based off of these two arguments. Anyway, so I'm on Reddit on the metalcore subreddit, throwing out this stupid theory, or not theory, but just like idea of just like we should all try and like, you know, tweet at Brendan Urie, tweet at Everytime I Die, tweet at Taylor Swift, and see if we can get a collaboration out of this. And someone responds with, she might already actually be a fan of Everytime I Die because they linked an article of an interview of her, and she was asked about like what her favorite metal band was, and she was like, "Oh, I like Korn." So, all right, she already likes metal.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone was like, "Yeah," and in the liner notes for her 1989 album, there is, different pictures in the liner notes of, her in an abandoned building, just aesthetic stuff for the album. And one of them is her sitting in front of a door with very closely related Every Time I Die lyrics written on the door. And it's like not the most original line, but it is very distinctive to Keith Buckley, the lead singer of Every Time I Die, his style. And I was like, it's not the most original idea, but it is like, okay, she already likes Korn. And just me going out there, I'm just like, well, Brendan Urie, Every Time I Die, maybe there's something here. The lyrics are, if I'm leaving with you, if you leave me, I'm coming with you. That's all it says on the door. But the lyric in Every Time I Die is, if you leave me, I'm coming with you. I promise you that. So something's left out. Now that I'm saying all this, I'm really nervous that all of it might not be real because I haven't actually looked up the liner notes. Someone on the internet just said this, so now I'm like perpetuating disinformation.
We're gonna make it be real.
I know.
It feels with Reddit on our side.
Exactly.
Ooh, anything is
we can
possible.
grassroots anything into existence.
Do you think that like all this connection with the punk rock music and Taylor Swift and how you foresaw it, do you think has underlining tones in her music that are similar to the punk rock bands?
Yes.
Because she's
I think that's why I started liking her, is because she is dark and depressive and self-loathing. And you can see her like wrestling with stuff that I think a lot in the punk rock metal community does, because they like dark stuff, and her lyrics are typically dark.
Yeah, I think it's so funny or cute or adorable that somebody who listens to punk rock music all of a sudden hears Taylor Swift and you're like, oh shit, I like this.
I think what it comes down to is growing up, like in high school when I first got into music and skateboarding, and I saw like AFI patches on the other skateboarders' backpacks, I was like, oh, I guess that's what I'm supposed to listen to. You're searching for your identity when you're younger. Yeah. You're like, well, I like skateboarding and they listen to that, so I need to go check it out. And initially it can be off-putting sometimes, but you're just like, well, this is what they listen to. And if I'm going to be part of that clique, even though you don't want to, like, everyone wants to be unique, but everyone also have a community. Yes, so I listened to NoFX and then AFI, and I was just like, well, this is what punk rockers listen to. But then, or skateboarders, where it was a big punk scene. But then later 90s, it became a big rap scene for skateboarding and all that, which is fine. I like some rap. I'm not the hugest fan of it, but there is good stuff out there. I think what it was is, derailed train of thought.
Yeah. AFI skateboarding.
Yeah, AFI skateboarding. You're asking why there was a propensity for people to like metalheads and skateboarders to like pop music. Yeah. I think what it is, early on when you find your community, you then like self-identify as like, this is what I listen to and this is who I am. But then as you get older and you drift away from those communities initially, it's like we keep in touch with some of our friends from high school, college, maybe. But then you go out in the real world and you have responsibility, and then you're inundated with like just pop and like media and all that. And then you grow up and you try, like me personally, trying to do music and discovering how difficult it is to be successful at it. And then I heard Kelly Clarkson. I was like, oh, Since You've Been Gone is a great song.
Great song.
I was like, uh-oh. That was another time where I was like, am I losing my identity? Like, and people want to push against that. Like, oh, my identity is a metalhead, skateboarder, punk rocker, blah, blah, blah. But pop music, I'm not allowed to like it. As you step away from your like identity that you formulated in like when you were obsessed with clicks because you were trying to like form your identity growing up, and then you just start looking at stuff. Obviously everything is subjective, but semi attempting to be objective of like, is this music good? Does it make sense? Mm-hmm. Then you're just like, as a musician, you look at it from a musician standpoint, you're just like, no, it's put together pretty well. The arrangement is pretty good. Lyrics are pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, I have to abandon the whole concept of like I can't like pop music.
Yeah.
And then it's just like just embrace all music that initially hits you or gives you an emotional
Yes.
response.
Why
And then
not?
who cares about the genre?
Right.
You know, aside from ska.
Oh my god, that's so funny because I was going to bring up ska.
That's hilarious.
I used to for like a small
Oh, we all were there. We all
3-month period. I loved ska music.
My first concert was a ska
God.
concert. Skank and Pickle. Yeah, I know.
That sounds very ska.
Yes, Warped Tour 1997 at 15,
Oh,
and
really?
saw like Real Big Fish, and but then Limp Bizkit was there, and I was like, "What is this?" You know, it was
Good
just
music
like,
though, right?
oh, Limp Bizkit's first album is phenomenal, and it's funny because
Yeah.
Limp Bizkit got shit on by the industry, you know, because they were doing something different, but he was obnoxious. But Fred Durst was obnoxious, and now 20 years later, everyone loves Limp Bizkit because
Yeah.
they did something different. Obviously,
Yeah.
Korn kind of started it, but Limp Bizkit kind of like came out
Right.
and blew the doors open of just like new metal and really mixing the rap stuff. And I mean, there's this not theory, but I guess this. Let me know if I'm talking too much.
Oh no, that's good. You never talk too much on my bologna sandwich show. This is what we do.
Oh,
is talk.
I need to know the origin of the bologna sandwich name.
Oh, I'll tell you that in a second. But
Okay.
there's never too much talking.
All right.
This is
Because it's all going to be edited down to like 3 minutes.
and my mom and my dad serve bologna sandwiches at their Pentecostal wedding,
Nice.
Jewish Pentecostal wedding. So,
Classic.
and in fact, my cousin, when she flew in from Texas to be at this wedding in the Bay Area, she was summoned to go to the kitchen and help prepare the bologna sandwiches. Yes, that's it. Oh my God, the show has as many ingredients as bologna.
It's all of the remnants of the things we don't want in our meat.
Oh my God, this show is comprised of misfits and like remnants of people that society doesn't
Pig
want.
innards.
God.
I'm gonna start the pig innard podcast. We're the fringe remnants that
The liver,
you know, but everyone eventually consumes at some point. At some point, it's gonna get consumed, and
God, that is so funny. I love it.
that's hilarious.
Wait, I have to ask you,
Yeah.
what year did you graduate high school?
99. I'm old.
Oh, I thought you were younger. I graduated in 97, and I thought you were like 2000s. Graduated.
I get that a
2000s.
lot.
You
Everyone,
look younger.
That's the only thing I have going for me.
And if you shaved your beard, you would look even younger.
yeah, no.
Because beards when I have a beard, I look older.
I want to see that. I want to see the beard.
Where did you grow up?
Northern California.
I'm from Northern California.
Oh,
Oh my God, maybe that's why I feel your vibe, dude. I went to
NorCal. Remember the NorCal SoCal like beef that didn't really exist that NorCal thought did?
in regards to music. I don't know. I was in the Bible club and Christianity.
Oh, nice. I went to 7 years of Christian camp till I was like 16, 17.
Okay, go ahead with the NorCal.
Oh, it's this non-existent thing that I used. You know, I worked at a skate shop, and there was this clothing company called NorCal because they thought there was like this kind of like rivalry between North and SoCal. And then when I came to SoCal, I discovered that SoCal doesn't really give a fuck about NorCal. They're just like, I was Sonoma County.
Oh, that's a beautiful area, though.
Yeah, we got grapes.
You have grapes and you have wine.
Yeah, I lived there until I was 32 and never went wine tasting.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Was there a big skateboard, ska, punk rock community in Sonoma?
Well, I mean, Berkeley, San Francisco, a lot of punk comes from there. Green Day, Operation Ivy, Rancid, all that. So in the early 90s, late 80s, well, 80s, 90s, there was a big punk rock community. And, you know, it expanded out into all of Northern California, the United States, the world, you know, as it got big. But, yeah, I mean, music scene was pretty decent. We would go into San Francisco to see all the like big bands that we wanted to see. But there was some flourishing music scene up there. You know, I was in plenty of failed bands. So I guess that means it wasn't flourishing if I failed so many bands.
I don't know.
But, I mean, it's just one of those things where, I mean, music is hard, and you have 5 people in a band, all have to get their schedules together, and then
Mm.
that's why everything is moving towards just individual artists these days.
Oh,
And
you know what
music
though?
engineers.
This is my prediction, and talk about this on Reddit.
Mhm.
Everything's going to go individual, like you said, and then all of a sudden people are going to be like, "We miss the good old days of good old fashioned bands coming together." And then in like 2050,
Oh, absolutely.
2050, all these young kids are going to think they have a great idea to go
Collaborate.
yeah, and create a band.
Yeah.
and
I don't even think it's going to be 2050. It's going to be sooner
2030.
than that because
2020.
yeah, 2020.
Yeah.
So it already happened. It's in the past. Like honestly, we all know everything recycles itself. Right now, 90s stuff, early 2000s stuff is popular. We're nostalgic for everything.
Yeah.
Green Day, Dookie, Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream, and Soundgarden, Super Unknown were the first 3 CDs I ever bought with my own money. Prior to that, I was listening to like Crisscross because I guess that's what we're supposed to listen. I didn't know music. My dad, it's funny, my dad played music when he was in high school, but he was listening to like Mamas and the Papas and like Pablo Cruz and all that stuff. It feels like theater kids were running the late 90s.
Theater kids are running the late
Yeah, because
90s.
everything was zany. You had to
Oh my God, that
have
is
checkered shit, bright colors.
such a great description
Yeah.
of the 90s that theater kids were
It
running.
just feels like, theater
yes,
on
dorky,
some
kinda weird.
level. Everything's based on control.
Yeah.
And humanity is constantly fighting to stay in control of a world and a universe that they don't understand.
Yeah.
That's all that's happening.
So it seems like people have so many different religions. If there's 10 different religions and they all believe specifically their religion is right and the others are wrong,
Mhm.
then who's right and who's wrong? There's so only one of those 10 beliefs are going to be right and the
Mhm.
rest are going to be wrong. And who's going to choose which one is right and wrong?
There's you. It will.
I want to be consumed by
You
the
wanna be
Reddit.
consumed.
I want Reddit to be my god.
You can be the hive mind. You'll be accepted into the hive mind that is Reddit, which is funny because the hive mind of Reddit is independent thinkers and everyone arguing with each other. It's silly. I think what it comes down to is like there's like big C corruption and little C corruption.
Okay.
Like there's big C corruption and big C conspiracies make it sound like there's this hidden agenda of a hidden super society type
Dr.
shit.
Evil somewhere.
Where like a collaboration of all these government, like intergovernmental, international, intergalactic
Yeah.
entities that have gotten together to set this course of humankind.
Got it.
Little C conspiracies is people conspire to do some shit.
Right.
Little C corruption is we're all corrupt. We all want we're all greedy. We're all gonna like probably do something that's gonna give us gain.
When did you get involved in comedy, stand-up comedy?
I grew up doing theater in middle school and high school. I liked acting. Did music, skateboarding, all that. Was president of drama club in high school.
Cool.
Was class clown in high school, all that. And look where it's got me.
I
I'm on the Bologna Sandwich podcast. This is success.
This
Baby.
is
Success, internet.
Give me 5.
Kapow. But after high school, I moved to San Diego with a friend. We were skateboarding friends. We grew up middle school to high school, out of high school, college years. I moved to San Diego with his family, and we lived in their garage, and we were trying to do music.
Cool.
And that was the first time, like I said, my parents were semi-conservative, so they didn't, like I say, block things for me to see. They didn't try to shelter me, but they would like give their opinion, like I said earlier. But we didn't have HBO. I knew who George Carlin was, but I had never seen a special. Yeah. And so I got to see a George Carlin special at living with my friend in San Diego because they had HBO. And I was like,
you totally have George Carlin vibes. I just realized that.
That's my biggest influence.
Oh my God. Totally.
Like the moment I saw that, I was just like, because I already liked performing. Yeah. I was playing music. Skateboarding is performative in a lot of ways too, music. Theater. Yeah, exactly. So I saw that. I'm like, oh, I just got tingles thinking about it. Like, I was like, oh, you don't have to tell knock jokes. Comedians are not just knock jokes. This guy is like observing the world and coming to terms with how fucked the system is. And I was just like, that blew my mind when I saw George Carlin. It was jamming in New York. That was the special. And it blew my fucking mind. His shit about religion, his shit about like the big club that you're not in, and how we're all getting fucked by the American dream, blah, blah, blah. And so that was 2001. I saw that. Then 9/11 happened. The world fucking changes. I was living in San Diego when 9/11 happened. That was a weird situation, actually. I was working for my friend's dad. My friend got injured, so he couldn't do it. So I was working for my friend's dad. and we were sleeping in the garage in El Cajon, San Diego, in the middle of nowhere. We didn't have a car. It was a very odd time in my life. But I wake up from some large sound, like explosion-y sound. I'm woken up at like 5 a.m. I'm in San Diego, and I just don't think anything of it. I was just like startled awake. I was like, what? And I just go back to sleep on the shitty couch that I was sleeping on in the garage. And then alarm goes off, get up, get in the car with my friend's dad. We're driving to work, and I was like, yeah, did you hear that large explosion type sound last night? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. No, I didn't hear anything, but you never know what's going to happen. Turns on the radio. Chaos, for the whole drive in, no one was explaining what had happened, but it was chaos. And we're in San Diego near a military base. So we're like, what is up here?
What do you think you heard?
I don't know.
Some weird spiritual connection thing.
I mean,
because they're 3 hours ahead.
I know. That's it's unfalsifiable. So I'm not superstitious. I don't believe in attempt to explain the concept of spirituality or connectedness or all that semi-superstitious stuff. This is totally in the realm of science, but even the scientists can't explain it because it's new and they're still trying to figure it out, and it's probably wrong, but this is just how I justify it for now, of like thinking how these like weird coincidences and anomalies in the world happen, and we like to ascribe them to be the supernatural world, is quantum entanglement.
Okay.
Quantum entanglement is the concept of that they have observed that two particles, regardless of distance from each other, they could be on the opposite sides of the Earth. If you affect one, it immediately affects the other one in the opposite direction. So if you observe an electron spinning a particular or a particle spinning I'm probably getting this part wrong, like if it's an electron or a neutron or a proton, but I think it's electrons that are spinning in a particular direction, and you observe it, the people observing the other one will see it spinning in the exact opposite direction immediately. So that feels like a weird way of being like, all right, obviously, despite distance, there's some connectivity happening, and no one can explain it right now. Einstein called it spooky activity at a distance. And so he didn't get it, and people today still don't get it.
Is it?
I mean, I feel like all the stuff that is like supernatural or spiritual can eventually be explained by science.
Yeah.
Or it will never be explained. So why make up an answer?
Sometimes I wonder, am I in the Truman Show?
Right.
Are you real? Am I fake? Just accept it.
Yeah. Just be like, we don't get it. And maybe we will at some point. Coincidences happen.
Yeah.
And our brains like to find patterns. Evolution has made us look for patterns.
Yeah.
So, and when something doesn't make sense, we want to create a pattern to make it make sense, so we don't have to stop thinking it, so we can stop thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean, but if you think about human life in general, how we think there isn't a pattern, but there is a pattern.
Well, there's definitely patterns, but the patterns could be not connected. And then we just start connecting them because there's similar patterns.
It's like we like to do puzzles.
Yeah, we just don't want things to not make sense because
I love when things don't make sense.
Well, because then you get to try and make sense of it.
No, I want to feel chaotic, and I want to just be like, okay, so
back to my comedy.
Yeah, George Carlin.
Okay, here's a weird spiritual coincidental thing about George Carlin. He was the first comedian that inspired me to do comedy. Died on my birthday in 2007. And his last show was in my hometown, and I missed it.
Oh my God.
So stupid me, because I hadn't done comedy yet at that time. Being silly and telling myself, I was like, well, obviously he's passing the torch to me. Before I actually ever be recognized for any of the stuff that I do, I'm starting to learn that I just continue doing what I like doing until I don't like doing it anymore. Yeah. And if stuff comes out of it, great. Whoops. Yeah, that's okay. I'm unwrapping your wall.
That's called hang paper. It's supposed to be wallpaper, but I just taped it. I'm too lazy to even.
Traditional.
This is antique.
Yeah, I love that type of stuff.
Yeah, this is like seriously 70s type wallpaper.
Actually, I have a friend that looks identical to George Carlin. He was doing comedy for a while.
Kill him.
Yeah, I know, right? He almost died. He almost died of a heart infarction, I think is a thing. He looks identical to me, or identical to George Carlin in like the 70s. It's insane.
Cool.
But anyway, so George Carlin was my influence. 2009, I decided to actually do comedy. 2008, 2009. I looked on Craigslist. I was living in Northern California.
Oh my gosh.
That's how you started? You looked on Craigslist?
In 2009, not on Craigslist.
Oh.
So what did you looked on Craigslist?
I just looked for comedy gigs, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And there was one, I found a comedy competition. I was in San Francisco, and I called them up to ask questions. I was just like, yeah, just getting information, da 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 da. And they're like, all right, you're on the list. And they hung up. I was like, uh-oh, I don't have any material. I was like, I mean, I had been writing some ideas down, but I was like, oh shit, I better write some stuff. And then I went there, managed to get some friends to come out, and then more friends showed up. So I had like 15 people actually show up to see it,
Right.
which felt really good at the time.
Did you
but
go to Tommy T's in San Francisco?
no, I don't even remember what it was. It was some random bar.
Oh,
It was a random bar. It wasn't a club. And I was nervous as fuck. I dry heaved in the bathroom, all that stuff.
yeah.
And then I talked to this female comedian, older female comedian there. I had a beer or two, got a little bit more comfortable. I went last, and because I had friends there and they were just cheering me on, I was like, oh, I might win this. Like an idiot. I was just like, I might actually win this. I didn't win this. Some professional who had been doing it forever won the competition. I was like, well, that makes sense.
I love your confidence.
With my back and forth lack of confidence.
No, your confidence, like George Carlin is passing me the torch. I'm going to win this. But you know why? Because you feel the prodding to do or the call.
That's a whole another subject of like, I was always taught like confidence is arrogance.
Oh,
And I've been struggling with that my whole life. So that's why I'm bad at selling myself and doing the business side of things. But yeah, so that, then I moved to, so I did that in 2009. I did the comedy competition and then didn't do comedy until I moved to LA in 2013. I moved to Ventura. My uncle hooked me up with a room for super cheap in Ventura. I lived there for a year selling cell phones at Target. Yay. And then, found a place in LA. It was funny. In Ventura, this old lady comes in. She has a problem with her T-Mobile phone. And I call up T-Mobile and I get the warranty set up and I help her out. And then we just get to chatting. And I was just like, yeah, I'm thinking of moving to LA. She's like, I have a room for you. She's like, immediately. She was like, I have a room for you. And so I met and stayed there. And it was like super cheap rent. I was living in a really nice house. I was just like, this is awesome. And then I was starting to do stuff at the Comedy Store. And I was just like, oh, everything's coming together, But yeah, so I moved into LA in 2014, started doing stuff, had that place, got introduced to a booker at the independent booker at the Comedy Store, and I started taking tickets for him. Okay. And then I was like, well, can I get stage time? Yeah. And so he started giving me stage time once a month. I was doing sold out shows in the main room with like Dane Cook, Bill Burr, Harlan Williams. I look at it, it was just like I was given a taste. Great. I was given kind of a false sense of like, yeah, it's happening. But then I had to go back to, okay, I'm going to just do bar shows and independent shows and just do, continue to do it. I'm not going to give up on it. I can get back there. Then the pandemic happened. And then it was just like, all right, well, now everything's being put on hold. Yeah. So now I'm at a point where I'm just like, this year I'm going to attempt to get back to the Comedy Store. That's like my goal is to get back to the Comedy Store. And who knows if it'll happen, but I was in Northern California 2 weekends ago, last weekend. I can't remember. It was my sister's birthday. I was visiting my niece, and I met up with some friends of mine that we used to be in a band. They're two twins, awesome guys. And one played drums, one played bass. I played guitar. We were coming up with weird punk stuff, but I haven't seen them for a while. We got together and we were talking about, we're being nostalgic about the days we were doing punk rock and stuff. But me and one of them were talking about like, man, we should have just sold out. We should have just fucking sold out. So we could have we should have just written like radio jingles and just like made money and then taken that money to make our projects,
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. We're like, so that's kind of like what me and Danny are doing. Like, it's just like, let's just try and sell shit. Even if it's not like perfect and like, or our opinion, like up to our standard. Right. Our standard, could be above or below what other people in the industry think is worth buying or selling or creating. So it's just get it out there.
Get your leverage by getting money, having credits to your name, and then you could do whatever you want.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there anything that you wanted to say? Any other
you want to say? I don't know. There is no God. No.
Well, thanks so much for doing this show with me.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's just bantering, and
I apologize how much editing you're going to have to do. Am I supposed to plug stuff now?
No, I don't know. I just sometimes
my words of wisdom. Words of wisdom. Well, my favorite, my running motto now is every day is the most absurd day of my life. Just like I wake up with no expectations. It's going to be worse or better or more outlandish or less outlandish than the day before. It's just going to be absurd. Douglas Adams, who wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Everyone go watch the early 2000s movie of it with Mos Def, Martin Freeman, and Sam Rockwell. Amazing movie. Hilarious.
Jesus has told me that he loves me and I'm chosen. Out of all the Jews, I'm the
Exactly.
chosen Jew.
You're the first of the 133,000 that go to heaven, right?
Yes. Oh my God. Do aliens have ghosts?
I don't think there's such thing as ghosts.
Well, say
so.
there were such things as ghosts and aliens. If aliens die, do they have ghosts? Whenever I find out that somebody has my birthday, September 25th, I'm like, oh my God, we're so connected. 365 days in the year and trillions of people on the earth. If
Billions.
not, okay, there's 200,000 people on the earth. You think about all the people on the earth. There's so many people that have our birthday.
Yeah.
No, like, yeah, just do it.
That's what Nike means by it.
Yeah, Nike did.
They're not trying to influence like sports stars.
Yeah.
They're just trying to get the little kids to make their shit.
Maybe Jesus likes atheists more than his followers. Wouldn't that be funny if Jesus is like, oh God, these Christians.
I had an idea about that recently where it's like, what if all of this was a test to see if we use our brains? But you're a master editor, as you said, so
I am.
So you got to make me not look racist and misogynistic.
I'm going to make you only look racist and misogynist.
Excellent.
I'll be like, I guess that's what the universe had for you. Sorry.
And then I'm going to get canceled, and then people will be like, "Who's this guy?" And then I'll just get notoriety.
Yes.
So that's going to help me.
I got to go on Reddit and tell people about my bologna sandwich.
You should open up a subreddit.
Okay.
Where you post all these.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
So
just create a subreddit. And go on Reddit. Subreddit is all the different categories. You can create a subreddit about anything. You can have a subreddit about monster trucks. You could have a subreddit about bologna sandwiches. You should do two. Make one literally about bologna sandwiches, and make another one about the bologna sandwich show.
Cool.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're cutting out.
Bye, guys. See you later.